Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we say hello from the DC Armory. I'm Gary Digital Williams, and this is sort of a post-fight wrap-up show of the undercard we've seen so far here at the Armory, with most of our beltweight boxers were involved. Of course, our main event will be Tony Thompson taking on Luis Ortiz. Joining me here at ringside is Ron Harris. He's from the News Channel 8 as well as the Prince George's Sentinel, and he covers boxing for both those situations there. And Ron, so far, except for our first bout tonight, pretty good showing for the beltweight boxers.
Well, it is, Gary, but I was really impressed with Roach, man. I had seen him before, but he is so compact and so classy for a guy as young as he is to have only 9 fights up to this point. He's 10-0 now.
Yeah.
But I guess his amateur career was really a stepping stone to be a pro as he is.
Right. Well, Lamont was a 2013 National Golden Glove champion, and boxed on the beltweight. We voted him the Rookie of the Year in 2014. Lamont Roach Jr. winning an 8-round unanimous decision over a very tough Jesus Lule, who was a late substitution in that situation, and he actually did get a knocked down in the first round, but Lule came in there. But Roach, as you said, showed the poise of a young boxer.
Not only that, I liked Lule's guts. Mm-hmm. You could tell, though, he's near me where I'm sitting in terms of his corner. Yeah. You could see he was getting worn down as the fight was going on, because it looks like Roach is so good at this stage that he can get into it with his combinations, and his vision is so good that he can come out of the combinations and duck and weave and bob and slip punches. I mean, like a guy well beyond his years.
Yeah, no question about it. Lamont Roach now 10-0, 3 KOs. Jesus Lule now 8-16-1, 1 KO. Also on the card tonight, Roach's one of his stablemates, Demetrius Ballard, in a short outing, a second-round knockout, body shots all the way for Demetrius Ballard, his win over Jose Maiedo of Cuba.
Well, the guy from Cuba came in at 175 pounds.
Right.
So I asked Demetrius, did that bother him fighting basically a light heavyweight? Mm-hmm. And he said, no, of course. I guess the guy gained some weight as probably for that 180, I would think, in the ring. But I guess his plan was to go to the body. He looked kind of flabby in the middle, so it worked. I think he took a good blow from his opponent in round 1, but I think his focus was in that midsection, and he went down like 3 or 4 times. Yep,
3 times in the second round, and bout was stopped midway through the second round. Demetrius Ballard now 12-0, 8 KOs. Jose Maiedo 8-3 with 6 KOs. Also, Kevin Rivers Jr., another member of the No Excuse card, No Excuse stable out of Maryland. He bounces back from suffering his first loss and gets a 6-round unanimous decision over Angel Aspero of Mexico.
Well, that fight started a little slow. I think Kevin didn't have his feet under him at first. I don't know exactly what the cut was around his opponent's ear, but the doctors stopped it. Goes in as a TKO. But a good victory nevertheless for the young guy to Palmer Park. Yeah,
especially coming back after a loss, tough loss. He was knocked down twice in his last outing, came back and got a majority decision loss. So one judge had a draw in that situation.
Well, in boxing, you never know what the judges see. There's 3 of them out there, and a lot of times the judges will be in a position where the fighters' backs are to you, and you can't really see the good blows landing, good body shots, and so on, until they rotate around to where you get a complete vision of both fighters. So it's just tough. You don't want to take it to the judges, but sometimes you have to.
Right, no question about that. So it's Kevin Rivers now 13-1, 9 KOs. Angel Aspero 6-4-2 with 3 KOs. Our opening bout tonight featured Alexander the Great Johnson, the light heavyweight out of Oxon Hill, Maryland, and he fought Todd Unthank May. Now, Unthank May was coming back from the first time since November of 2013, facing a guy in Johnson coming off a knockout loss, and May went the distance, won about, knocked down Johnson twice, but in the third round, it looked like Johnson was trying to make a comeback there.
Well, Johnson didn't seem to have the umph in his punches that I think he would want to have, but when you lead off the card as the first fight, an empty gym, so to speak, and you got to have your head on right. And once again, another Philadelphia fighter came in, and you're always going to get the top effort from guys out of Philadelphia because of the wars that I'm told they go through, moving up the ranks of the amateurs and on into the pros.
Sometimes in the gym. Right?
Yeah, in the gyms. And And one of the better fights we saw was a fight right after that with Damon Allen, who had a really tough fight. He won, I would think, with no problems, but his opponent got some good blows in.
Yeah, no question about that. Alexander Johnson now 16-4, 7 KOs. Todd Unthank May 9-0, 3 KOs. And the bout Ron is referring to, once again, Damon Allen, another boxer out of Philadelphia. He did get into a war with Daniel Perales out of McAllen, Texas. Allen did win by unanimous decision. Somehow won by shutout. I don't know if I agree with that at all.
I don't agree with that either. I gave the other guy at least 2 rounds.
Right.
Because maybe the second, third, fourth, somewhere in there, he got 2 of those rounds. But I don't have any question with the decision because once Allen switched to southpaw, I mean, he was landing some bombs in there. And I guess that's a kind of going thing now that fighters are doing with the success of Crawford and some of the others. Even Lamar Roach Jr. switched to southpaw for a little bit of a round, maybe in the middle of the rounds.
Yeah, no question about it. Also on the card tonight, Zachary Ochoa out of Brooklyn, New York. He won by unanimous decision over Rosebel Montoya out of Mexico. And Ochoa is now 14-0, 6 KOs. Good performance for him. Kind of a dull fight considering some of the other bouts we've had tonight. Some really good some bouts so far.
Yeah, I was thinking that we get some early knockouts in a card like this. But yeah, there have been some competitive bouts. Only one stopped, I think, in Rivers' fight was stopped due to the injury.
Right.
Everything else went the distance, and I think fighters like Roach and Rivers and those guys, they want rounds, I would think, at this point in their career.
Definitely.
So all in all, it's been great. I haven't had the crowd announced yet, but it looks like a really good crowd, too.
Good crowd. Yeah, still coming in, actually. Here we're right near the entrance to the DCR. The crowd is still coming in, and they've got 3 more bouts to watch, and 2 of you will be able to watch on HBO Live. In fact, we can see Jim Lampley doing some opening right now, right in front of us here at ringside. But, of course, coming up is the WBC interim featherweight title between Robinson Castellanos taking on Oscar Escandón. That bout can be shown on ringtv.com. And then the 2 co-feature bouts. Let's talk about our main event, Ron. That's Luis Ortiz going against our very own Tony the Tiger Thompson, who is not going to be able to fight for the WBA interim heavyweight title. But it's still a big fight for this 44-year-old heavyweight.
Well, I was impressed with Tony when he went over and fought the Klitschko's. He went the distance or late in the fight in both fights. He's a slick guy, not a real heavy hitter from the fights I've seen, but he's so experienced and so long and slick. You don't really get a good shot at him. But then again, he's not going to knock you out in one blow either. But I think that should be a pretty good fight. And we have to root for our home guy. And, the interim title is a good achievement for a guy that old.
No question about it. So that'll be our main event. You'll see that on HBO. And also the fight I'm looking forward to seeing for the vacant WBO welterweight title, Saddam Ali versus Jesse Vargas. And Saddam Ali has fought here a couple of times in this area, once as an amateur against Gary Russell Jr., but that should be a great bout, no question about that. So final question before we let you go, Ron. You look at this area now with this bout, with this card here, we got Broner Theophane right back in this very same location on April the 1st. It shares a lot for this area.
Well, I'm impressed that the so-called big-time promoters are finally looking at themselves and saying, we're signing all these fighters from D.C., in fact, D.C., PG County, and the whole DMV. It sounds the reason you would bring some of them home to fight. I mean, if each of them bring in 30 fans, that's a lot of crowd just from, the fighters themselves. But you look around the arena, there are people of all stripes and colors here. And I think it's impressive. We know, Jerry, you and I, how important DC is to boxing, and has been since Bobby Foster, if you want to go back that far. But I think a lot of the promoters, and we can't compete with Vegas and that kind of thing, but we can get those upper-level fights that are not mega fights, and I think we deserve it. The fighters deserve it. The promoters see that they can get good crowds here. You got guys like you and Boxing Along the Beltway that gives the exposure to these guys. And I think as you look around Press Row and you see Raphael and those guys, they do those major bouts.
Yeah.
And they're here in D.C. doing this card, which isn't a mega card, but it's certainly an important card for the sport of boxing.
Yep, no question about it. So hope you enjoy the rest of the card. We'll give you some post-fight afterward. post-fight interviews with Tony Thompson, win or lose after this card. It's over. So stay with us right here on the Box on the Beltway. Google that for Android. Ron, thank you very much. Ron Harris from Channel 8, New Channel 8, as well as the Prince George's Sentinel. We're back with more from the DC Armory a little bit later on. I'm Gary Diggy Williams. Stay with us, everybody.